Selland Arena in Fresno, California. This is round 6 of Monsters of Destruction. Hello, everyone. I'm Larry Huffman, the best monster trucks in the world, coming out to do battle on a man-made dirt battleground here in Selland Arena. Behind the scenes, out in the parking lot as we get set to go, we can see the crews working on the machines. That's what's called a transport wheel that the gentleman's taking off right there. That's what they use to put the trucks in and out of the huge carriers because they can't fit in there with the big wheels. And smoother than a mayonnaise sandwich, says Brad Campbell. He heard that before on one of the earlier broadcasts. There's Amber Skywalker on the right and her boss, and that's Paul Schaefer of the Monster Patrol. Amber, of course, drives the number 29 Kid Rock Kevin Harvick machine. Before the race, the fans come in and meet the stars of Monsters of Destruction in person. Let's take a look at the straight line drags. Point standings after round number 5. Bigfoot leads with 109. Monster Patrol right after him, 1 point back, 108. Dragon Slayer, Spider-Man, and Line X Obsession. In the Chicago-style racing, after round 5, Bigfoot still in control with 120. Dragon Slayer in second, 102. Monster Moose, Monster Patrol, and Spider-Man. Up first, qualifying for straight line drags. It'll be Bigfoot against this machine, the Monster Moose. Brad Campbell out of Puget Sound, the Northwest, going against Dan Runty of St. Louis. There's a look inside the office of Brad Campbell in the Monster Moose. He's got a lot of things to take care of in that short little 3 or 4 second run. Bigfoot in front of him. They line up. They've got to go over the cars, get to the other side. They'll run about 3 to 4 seconds, maybe 5 seconds. Here's the start. And Bigfoot, flawless, a little bit of a problem with Monster Moose. He got a little bit sideways. And the time, Bigfoot a 3.070 second clocking. Monster Moose 3.301. Let's take another look at it. Again, getting a little bit too high and then just a little bit off there for Campbell. He's still learning. He's still learning to drive. Watch him inside. In-cab camera. Look at everything he's got to do. He's got to watch everything, and he's got a big crowd watching him. Another look at it. Gets a little bit too high and then a little sideways when he comes down. Again, Runty, a perfect run. Qualifier number 2 will pit Spider-Man against Line X Obsession. That's Curtis Stone on the Line X truck and Paul Jensen in Spider-Man. This guy is the biggest man on the circuit, 6'6", 275 pounds. He's tougher than a $2 steak, and he's been winning a lot, too, lately. Spider-Man going up against Line X Obsession. Again, Stone is still learning. He's basically a rookie, but looking better every week here. From Selland Arena, Spider-Man on the near side of your screen, and the Line X Obsession truck on the far side. They line up. We're set to go. This is the second qualifier. And a problem with Line X Obsession, and Jensen gets this one handed to him on a silver platter. A problem with Line X Obsession. Spider-Man 3.412, Line X 5 seconds, 2.36, which is an eternity. Let's look again. He gets up to the cars, goes to the side. He's got something broken there, and he's been having some problems with that truck. So the win goes to Spider-Man. It's not really a win. He's fastest qualifier. We'll be back with more exciting action from Selland Arena in round 6 of the Monsters of Destruction. Don't go away.
Hey, Billy. Where are you?
From Selland Arena in Fresno, California, welcome back to Monsters of Destruction. I'm Larry Huffman, brought to you by AmeriGas, America's propane company, and MonsterTruckStore.com, your online source for monster truck merchandise, and the best silkscreen t-shirts in the world, Cruisin' Tees. Round 3 will put Dragon Slayer up against this young lady, Kevin Harvick, the number 29 truck. Earlier, we talked to Amber Skywalker and asked her, you're up against the guys. Do you ever worry about what the competition is going to do?
Yeah, I don't really worry about what anybody else does. I'm more worried about what I'm doing. I try to make every run better and better and better. And I've been like that ever since I started driving. I never worry about what the person's doing next to me. And it makes it a lot easier. It lets me focus on, oh, I didn't shift right, I didn't turn right, I didn't turn it this time. And you start worrying about what everybody else did in freestyle. Well, their truck isn't your truck. So you need to know what you can do in your truck and only worry about that. And other people say, oh, I like to go last because I see what everybody else did. And it doesn't matter to me when I go. I just try to do better than I did the last time.
Amber very confident. She's learned well from her boss, Paul Schaefer. Here we go. There's the Kid Rock Kevin Harvick truck. Young Amber Skywalker going against Dragon Slayer. Now you can see her as she tightens down the belts. That's a cervical collar she's wearing underneath her helmet to support it because they take such a beating in this. They go over the cars and slam down. It's like a 6 on the Richter scale. There's a start. Dragon Slayer gets a better start. And Amber, no, it's just a little bit too slow. 3.1 second for Dragon Slayer, 3.439 for Kevin Harvick, Amber Skywalker. Take another look at it. Here's the Tough Country suspension of that Dragon Slayer. That's one of his new sponsors. You can see what a tremendous beating the chassis takes. Here's a look at Amber inside the cab. Notice how she gets slammed around there. Oh my goodness, and it's over just about that fast. One more time looking at it from the Dragon Slayer side. Again, no wasted motion at all. He gets up and over, and that's it. We go now to the next round. This will be Monster Patrol. This is a 5. So Monster Patrol comes out by himself. And Paul Schaefer, we mentioned him earlier, the boss of Amber Skywalker. It's a long wheelbase truck with a 2,000 horsepower heavy engine. And Paul is good, gets up, not too high. Remember, he's got a long wheelbase there, 3.317, so he's lined up for the straight line drags. So the qualifying results, Bigfoot with a 3.070, knocking on the door of the 3-second barrier. Dragon Slayer second, 3.1. Monster Moose, Monster Patrol, Spider-Man, Kevin Harvick, and Line X Obsession. Rounding it out. We go now to heat number 1. Here at Sunland Arena, this will bring out the big man. Monster Patrol, Paul Schaefer, going up against Paul Jensen in Spider-Man. Schaefer, as I mentioned earlier, 2,000 horsepower Hemi, and there's the Hummer of Paul Jensen. See what they've done. Jensen has been doing extremely well. Let's see if he can pull off a win over the old master, Paul Schaefer of the Monster Patrol. They stage. Both have an equal set of fresh cars to go over. And yes, occasionally they do cause a blowout because of jagged edges. Look at that on that blue machine there. The jagged edges on it. They've got to be careful. Those tires weigh 650 pounds plus. Tire and wheel. All right, Spider-Man in the foreground. Let's look at it from the start. Monster Patrol versus Spider-Man. This is heat number 1 in straight line drag. Monster on the right, Spider-Man up on the top of your screen. And Schaefer gets a little more air, but looks to me, he did win it. Monster Patrol, 3.176. Paul Jensen, Spider-Man right behind him with 3.317. So it's interesting. Schaefer got more air, but managed to get a little better start. You can see it right there. And takes the win in heat number 1 in straight line drags. And I don't think Paul Jensen is happy about that. We'll be back with more exciting action, ladies and gentlemen. Straight line drag, Chicago-style racing, and then the all-important freestyle coming up from Fresno, California. Don't touch that dial. I'm Larry Huffman. This is the straight line drags. This is the heat number 2. Dragon Slayer was set to go up against Line X Obsession, but they got a problem with the truck. They're working on that. It will be a single run by Dragon Slayer. And this is kind of interesting. Take a look at this because Scott McElmore's crew did a very interesting thing because we had a single run. We wanted to make it interesting for you. So we took 2 cameras, put one up on top, and then one down below. We get a good look at that Tough Country suspension. They're running at the same time. And look at the beating that takes. Oh, good camera work there. Dragon Slayer, one more time. Gets up and over, no problem. Respectable time, 3.352 seconds for the Slayer. We go now to Monster Moose versus Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick, the number 29 machine, is Amber Skywalker. There she comes out now. And going up against Monster Moose. Now, Monster Moose is Brad Campbell. He is relatively new to the sport of monster truck racing, but he's really come along well. Here's Amber inside the cab. He weighs about 115, 116 pounds. Here's Campbell. As I said before, he's out of the Puget Sound area of the Northwest. He's wanted to drive monster trucks since his parents took him to a monster truck race when he was 4 years old. He said, I will drive one, I will own one. And by golly, he did. So here we go. Here's the start. It is Monster Moose versus Kevin Harvick. There's the start. And the Moose gets a little better drive off the line. And what happened with Amber? Monster Moose, 3.417. Amber, 3.454. Let's look inside the cabs and see what we can see in the start. There's another start, and he gets a better start. And was Amber sleeping at the switch? Let's look. Here's the start. Amber looks away just when the lights go green. And that's what did it. Campbell took advantage of it and won the race. Amber, you cannot lose your concentration. One more time. Watch the start. The Moose gets 4 feet on her because Amber looked away from the light for just a second, and that was it. 80 bar the door, and Campbell takes the win. A single run coming up now by Bigfoot. Dan Runny says, I want to put on a show. He's going to run a single run. Now, we've had torrential rains in California recently. It's really affected the ground, become very spongy. And earlier, Dan Runny talked about that.
As far as the track conditions go, the mud here has created a problem. You know, that was comparison to Bakersfield. This has been a totally different situation as far as figuring the track out, how you can turn on it, what it's going to do on a launch. I mean, a lot of guys were worried yesterday, you know, it was going to break parts because it was so spongy and the traction was there. So now everybody's getting used to it and they're starting to play into it. We're just going to have to see how it works out tonight. I mean, it's drying out a little. It's getting to be a little better turning conditions, but it's a totally different ball game, and that's part of what's neat with driving one of these is having to figure the different situations out.
So Runny coming up here now for his single run here at Selland Arena in Fresno. He's always a professional, there's no question about that. Bob Chandler, the man that first invented Bigfoot back in the early 1970s. This is the most recent incarnation of that machine. Fiberglass body, 1,500 horsepower engine, big Ford, Runny. Single run, let's see what he does. There's a start, gets up, gets over, no problem, does not go too high. Let's check the time. 3.142 seconds. What close racing we've got here from Fresno, California. 3.1. Another look at it from the other side of the arena. Again, no wasted motion, does not get up in the air. The crowd likes to see the altitude, but it's, you want to get the power to the ground. We go now to semi number 1. This will hit Dragon Slayer against the Monster Moose. Brad Campbell, who's been doing so well. Let's see what he can do up against Dragon Slayer. This guy's tough. Craig Christensen out of Utah. The Tough Country Racing Suspension Hummer. Here comes Campbell. He's cocky. He beat Amber earlier. He says, let's get it on. I'm ready to go. Got his family down from the Northwest. He's looking good and feeling extremely confident, as he should. Mentioned him earlier, the kid that said, when I'm 4 years old, I'm going to own a monster truck. And there he is right there sitting in the cab. He's done it. Look underneath at the suspension. So, let's see what happens here. This is semi number 1. The Moose against the Dragon Slayer. And up and over, and let's see, close to call, but no, it's Dragon Slayer, 3.257, 3.306 seconds for the Moose. So right behind him, and there's nothing wrong with losing to a guy that's been around so long. Dragon Slayer, Craig Christensen. There's another look at it. They got to slam on the binders to avoid hitting the other trucks at the other end. Look at them here. As soon as they get down there, woo! Slam it down, slow it down. Tough Country Suspension, Dragon Slayer, look underneath. Incredible camber work. Look, 30 inches of travel they get. Just look at Campbell inside the Moose. Watch what happens when he gets slammed around. Whoa, his body takes a beating. They'll tell you they go to the chiropractor afterward. Again, Monster Moose up and over, but just not quite as fast as the Dragon Slayer. Christensen a little bit faster. More exciting action coming up from Fresno, California. Monsters of Destruction. Don't go away. Motorsports event, our t-shirts. Here we go now to semi number 2. This will put a couple of veterans against each other. Bigfoot against Monster Patrol. Paul Schaefer in that 2,000 horsepower Chrysler Hemi engine powered machine against the Ford, about 1,500 horsepower, the Bigfoot Ford. Let's see what let's see what Bigfoot could do against about 500 more horsepower. Here's a look from the far end of the arena. This is the semi. Bigfoot versus Monster Patrol. They come up and stage the only truck with the wing on the back, which really doesn't make a whole lot of sense inside. You see him on the right side of your screen. Here's a start. Up, gets a little bit sideways to the left, and it goes to Bigfoot again, going to the 2-second mark, 2.886 versus 3.138 seconds for Monster Patrol. Another look at it from a little bit of a different angle. There's Bigfoot looking to start. Again, no mistakes. Gets a little bit higher this time, slams down to the ground, and he takes the victory. That'll put him in the main event. Here's the look at, look, he goes off the side of the cars to the left. That's not good, but there's no damage except to his underwear. Another look at it. Bigfoot edges him right there at the end, and Runty takes it. And we come now to the main event. This is the drag final, Bigfoot against the Dragon Slayer machine. Dragon Slayer driven by an old, wily, seasoned veteran, Craig Christensen out of Utah. The Tough Country Suspension. I think we'll get another look at that suspension on that machine. It's very interesting to folks that are blown away by how much travel that these shocks have. 30 inches. 15, 20 years ago, 12 and a half, 13 inches, now 30 inches. There's Bigfoot. Runty looks to win it again. Pulls up on the line. Here we go with the start, ladies and gentlemen. It's Dragon Slayer against Bigfoot. Christensen against Runty. Dragon Slayer on the right. Runty on the left in Bigfoot. The officials line them up. This is the main event. This is important. The straight line drags main event. The officials walk away. The green light will go off. There it is. And there's a start. Very evenly matched, but it looks like Bigfoot has taken it. Yes, again, 2.788 seconds against 3.127. So Bigfoot, the only driver to go into the 2-second mark all night long. Another look at the start from the Dragon Slayer side. There's the suspension, the camera we've got underneath Dragon Slayer. Look at the beating that suspension takes. You got to wonder how these trucks do it. One more time. Bigfoot, again, a flawless run, no mistakes. So the results, the straight line drags, Bigfoot on top, Dragon Slayer second, Monster Moose third, Monster Patrol, Spider-Man, Kevin Harvick, and Line X Obsession. But the point standings now, after 6 rounds in straight line drags, looks like this. Bigfoot, 134 points in front, Monster Patrol in second, 128, Dragon Slayer, Spider-Man, and Line X Obsession, and Dan Runty is mighty happy in where he is right now.
Actually, tonight went really well. I mean, it was just one of them things. We had this straight line figured out. We took a bad hit in the last race, you know, and got a bad launch off of it, but the truck's working really well. I mean, I can't say enough about the guys at the shop, like Roy and John and them guys. We just got a great group. I mean, it's awesome. It's working awesome.
Coming up next, Chicago-style racing from Fresno, California. Style racing is interesting, in which the trucks follow each other around for a lap and a half. Well, you'll see what I'm talking about. This will put Bigfoot up against Kevin Harvick in heat number 1. There's Bigfoot up against Amber Skywalker in the Kevin Harvick number 29 Kid Rock truck. And ain't that a mouthful, huh? Let's see what happens here. Now, Bigfoot has been flawless all night long. Now, remember, Amber earlier lost concentration for a moment and lost a race. Here's the start. Bigfoot out in front. Now, look what he's doing. He's gassing until he gets up to the cars. Then he backs off the gas until he gets to the ground. Then he puts it back on and goes around. That's a beautiful way of driving. And he is catching up to Amber Skywalker in the Kevin Harvick truck. What's going on with Amber? We got a problem. A problem, it looks like, with the steering. She is off the track in the center, and that will hand the win to Runty and Bigfoot. Let's look inside. Now watch Runty. There is no wasted motion. He is smooth, as I say, like a mayonnaise sandwich. No question about it. And I understand the other drivers are complaining about that, but it's true. And he is doing an incredible job, and he wins heat number 1 of the Chicago-style finals in a tough break for Amber Skywalker. A problem with the, let's take a look. Let's see what happens. Gets off the line fine, comes back around. Now, well, a little bit of a problem there. Is she having steering problems? No, she's still on the gas. She's still running good. But watch carefully now. Inside wheel comes up, and she is out of the competition. Looks like steering problems. Another look at the start from Runty's perspective. Gasses in, gets up in the air, then backs off the throttle. The front wheels drop down, and he wins the race. So Dan Runty continues winning ways here in Fresno, California, Selland Arena. This is round 6 of Monsters of Destruction. Heat number 2, Chicago-style racing. The Monster Patrol of Paul Schaefer, the Frankenstein Monster Patrol machine. Long wheelbase going against Brad Campbell in the Monster Moose. Campbell upset Amber Skywalker earlier. When she lost concentration, he took advantage of it and won the straight line drag race against her. But Schaefer could be a different animal altogether. He is the owner of over 21 monster trucks. This guy in the black machine right here. He runs all over the country. He's a seasoned veteran. Launching and getting over the cars without a problem. The Monster Patrol, Campbell also looking good too. Gets up and over. But the Monster Patrol a little bit ahead of him. And the victory goes to Paul Schaefer in the Monster Patrol. He takes a 14.532 clocking against the Monster Moose 14.884. One more look at the start of the Monster Patrol. Again, Schaefer doesn't make many mistakes. You will not find him making any unneeded moves around this track. And that's a long wheelbase track, remember. A look at the start of the Monster Moose. Campbell tries to get the wheels back down. He's learning a lot and doing extremely well. He's catching on. He's got nothing to be ashamed of. He's beaten some of the best and losing very closely to some of the other best. So the win goes to the Monster Patrol. Here's a look at Campbell inside. Look at all he's got to do to keep that big machine on the track. Turning and thinking. Straight line drag, just go straight ahead. It's easy. But Chicago Style Racing, there's a whole new ball game. And Campbell is learning and learning well. The next heat in Chicago Style Racing hits a father against his stepson. That's Paul Jensen in Spider-Man. He is a stepson of this driver right here, Craig Christensen. And he used to hang around with Christensen's son, and then one day he's kind of like to drive this. Craig said, well, come on, we'll put you in a machine. So here we go. Spider-Man at the back, and he's having a bit of a problem getting the power to the ground. And look at this. This is Christensen. No problems at all. He's keeping, and they're all learning from Lunty as they go up over the cars and back up with the throttle and then gas them when they hit the ground. It's a good lesson they've learned from Dan Rundy. And it looks like Dragon Slayer, the father, will give his stepson a lesson in driving, and that's exactly what happened. Dragon Slayer, 13.804 seconds. Spider-Man, 16.588. A look at Dragon Slayer from the bottom. The suspension, the camera mounted underneath the truck. Now, unlike straight line drags, they've got a turn. So a lot of things are going on more than just straight line drags. They go around this track here at the Selland Arena. So the win goes to Dragon Slayer. Craig Christensen. Here's Spider-Man. Now look, as he hits the ground, bouncing, and that cost him time. You can't do that. You've got to get the power of the ground and keep going. So Spider-Man finishes second to his stepfather, Dragon Slayer, Craig Christensen. Semi number 3. An easy victory for this driver here, Craig Christensen, in the Dragon Slayer. They build those trucks from the ground up, and he says, I don't care if we break the bodies, I can make more fiberglass. Let's put on a show for the fans. So Christensen notches another win, this time over his stepson, Paul Jensen. We'll be back with more exciting action from Selland Arena in Fresno, California, ladies and gentlemen. Don't touch that remote. Monsters of Destruction, semi number 1. Bigfoot was supposed to go up against Monster Moose, but we got problems with the Monster Moose of Brad Campbell's truck. So it's Bigfoot in a single run. Gets a little bit more track time out there. Now look at how smooth he is. I've said that many times before. But what he does is he gets off the ramp, launches, then he backs off the throttle, which brings the front end down. And then as soon as he hits the ground, he gets on it again. Semi number 2, it'll be Monster Patrol versus Dragon Slayer. A couple of veterans of the Monsters of Destruction wars. And there's Paul Schaefer launching off the line. In the background, that's the Dragon Slayer. Craig Christensen coming up and over, and these guys are going at it hammer and tong. Getting around the track very well are both of them, and it looks like the victory will go to the Dragon Slayer. Takes the prize at 14.492 seconds. Monster Patrol 15.094. Another look at the Dragon Slayer machine, the Top Country suspension monster truck. And getting around there very smooth, a little smoother than the Schaefer of the Monster Patrol, which will set the stage for the main event. Another look from the other side. That's a long wheelbase Chrysler Hemi-powered machine of Paul Schaefer, and a little more difficult in a tight arena such as this. And Christensen took advantage of that, takes the victory, breaking into the 14-second mark. One more time for Monster Patrol. And Schaefer does a very good job of driving that truck. He doesn't make many mistakes. Universal Studios backing him. Gets a little bit crossed up there. So the main events will pit Bigfoot against the Dragon Slayer. And here we go with the main. Now, Bigfoot is going to have his work cut out for him here. Runty is, because Dragon Slayer is on a roll. Christensen is feeling good about everything. Everything's working. That short wheelbase Hummer is working extremely well on this very tacky track, because the traction is unbelievable. There's a start. Bigfoot has won just about everything so far, but he may have a problem here with Dragon Slayer. Dragon Slayer starting to catch up to him. That's what you look for. Yes, and Dragon Slayer goes off, slightly off, but he takes the win. As long as the machines line up and hit the launch ramp correctly, it doesn't matter what happens afterward. Let's look at running inside the Bigfoot Ford. Got a lot to do, but he just makes it look so effortlessly. The main event, Dragon Slayer against Bigfoot. And the victory goes to Dragon Slayer with a 13.537 clocking. First time into the 13s, Bigfoot 14.366. So Craig Christensen, a masterful job of driving, and takes home the bacon of the main event here at Selland Arena. You can tell that Runny's a little more serious here. He's not on a single run. He's up against a tough competitor in the Dragon Slayer. The Chicago-style racing finish. Dragon Slayer, Bigfoot, Monster Patrol in third, Monster Moose fourth, Spider-Man and Kevin Harvick. The point standings after round 6. Let's go down the field with a very happy Craig Christensen.
When I come around the corner there over that last set of cars, I barely hit the cars with both tires, and one set of tires missed the cars, so I kind of put it up on 2 wheels, and the only thing to do is just hang on and ride it out.
Congratulations, Craig. Nice run. We come back, ladies and gentlemen, in just a moment with the very exciting freestyle competition from Fresno, California.
1978, Bigfoot has been the premier name in monster trucks, and the man at the forefront guiding Team Bigfoot for all these years has been Bob Chandler.
When I first opened my four-wheel drive shop, and I'd come back with Monday morning with something broken on almost every weekend, and Ron Magruder, my general manager at the time, started calling me Bigfoot because I couldn't keep my foot out of the throttle. And at the time, I had bigger tires on it, and that Bigfoot sounds like a good name for the truck, so we put a small name on the side of the truck next to the driver's window. And it went over really well, so we made it bigger, and it's still with us. So. I'm to the point when I first started running these trucks, I said there's no way you could take them off the ground. You know, they'd just fall apart. They're too heavy and too bulky. And then we went to stage 2 monster trucks, which were the heavier trucks. They just crashed through vehicles. And we started racing with them back then, and the drivers were getting hurt because they were too rough. We went to stage 3, which is the tube chassis truck designed on the computer. The stage 3 trucks just changed my whole way of thinking about things, because now they're able to jump further and do a whole lot more than I dreamed possible for things. I don't know where the limit is. My trucks are 10,500 pounds, and they're pretty much that way all the time. The safety organization will allow you to go down to 8,500 pounds, or 9,000 pounds, I think is minimum right now. But my trucks are heavier than that because the main thing, I want them to hold together, and the primary thing is to protect the driver, and I'll probably never make them any lighter. But I don't like driving through and crashing and things in my trucks. I'll jump and try for records, but before we do that, we go out and test it with nothing underneath the truck and test it further and faster until we find out how far it can go. So we test things completely before we actually make a record jump of some kind. I don't know where the limit is, tell you the truth. After all this talk, I really don't know where the limit is.
He may not know where the limit is, but that hasn't stopped him from pushing the envelope, setting numerous records in the process.
Bigfoot's got a lot of records over the years. I think we've won more race series events than anybody. We've got the longest jump. We jumped the airplane and jumped 202 feet.
But records and glory are not the main things that drive Bob to build better trucks.
We spend more money on preventative maintenance than anybody else in the country. We try to ensure that our truck's going to finish a show when it starts the show. I know we spend a terrible amount on preventative maintenance. Every year the truck will come back apart. They'll take it apart piece by piece and go through the axles, go through the chassis. Every time a truck comes into the shop, it's gone over with a fine-tooth comb. They look for cracks in the chassis. They look for weak links in the vehicle.
And with a fleet of vehicles, Team Bigfoot is kept busy year-round.
I have about 32 employees right now, and to keep these trucks going, they're busy all the time. And we used to have a shop where we do work on other people's vehicles, and we don't anymore. It's a full-time job just keeping these trucks running.
Despite all the accomplishments of Bigfoot and other monster trucks, they still are not recognized by the industry as a true motorsport.
To me, to be recognized as a true motorsport would be my ideal situation. But we do so many things with our trucks that, we've gone from climbing hills to running mud runs, pulling a sled, to floating in the rivers with the trucks. So really have not come down to one specific entity that we're set at. So going to make it a true motorsport is going to be hard, and it's going to take a long time. I want people to think of Bigfoot. The image is important to me with a truck. We start out from the time my wife and I, and in fact Jim Kramer was in with us when we started the organization Bigfoot years and years ago. And we've always tried to keep the image of Bigfoot as clean and honest and family as we could. We don't allow girls in bikinis to hang over and take pictures for magazines. It's just not the image that we want to get. We like children involved. We do a lot with charities. And that's the important thing with us, and we're happy with what we're doing. We don't need to do any more. We're not actually trying to conquer the world. I just like Bigfoot to be a good family name, and we've kept that so far.
Bob Chandler, the consummate professional, and here is his truck, his baby. Dan Runny coming out for the freestyle competition. In this competition, you've got 90 seconds to do whatever you want to do in front of the crowd, and the crowd applause determines the winner. And they like to see big air, which is exactly what Runny is giving to him. Extremely well prepared and well set up truck. But oh, it takes a beating, as he said, over 5 tons of truck doing stunts. Going over the van in the center part of the arena, that gives him some serious air. So freestyle competition, as the name implies, is whatever the driver wants to do. Oh my goodness! That jarred his ancestors, but he came down on that one. The Ford of Dan Runty, owned by Bob Chandler out of St. Louis, Missouri. He's doing an incredible job in freestyle exhibition driving. Now spinning around, a donut. Those cars are taking a tremendous beating as the drivers drive the 5-ton trucks over them. Drops back on the rear wheels, a wheelie, a 5-ton wheelie. Dan Runny wrapping it up here with his freestyle exhibition. Let's see what the crowd, how they respond. And they like it, and Runny knows how to work that crowd. So the first exhibition in the freestyle competition here at Selland Arena, Bigfoot. There's a slow motion look, and look at how high he gets. The front wheels have got to be up, what, 15 feet in the air? He goes over the van in the center. Look at the van. It collapses. And he claps down on the front wheels. Again, straight up and down, but getting a little sideways. That's where it gets dangerous, because he can go over on his side very, very easily. And he makes it look so easy. The other way on the van, another look at it, the other angle. The second competitor in freestyle is young Curtis Stone out of Puget Sound, Washington, in the line exhibition. But the interesting point about this, they've been having trouble with the transmission. So Stone cannot back up. That means he's got to do this entire presentation without backing up, and that's extremely difficult. He wanted to do it for Line X, he wanted to do it for the fans, so he went to the promoter and said, Chris, I want to run this thing even though I can't back up. But this really limits him, because look, ladies and gentlemen, he's got to turn around. He can't stop and back up. And he's putting on a pretty good show. Line X obsession, Curtis Stone. See, he can't back up. I don't know if he's trying or not, but he can't back up. He's stuck right there unless he goes forward, which is exactly what he's doing. It almost kisses the wall here at Selland Arena. Now spinning around, coming back around, setting up for the cars again, getting some air. You know, Stone could have parked it back in the pits and said, I can't run, I can't go in reverse. He said, no, I'm going to do it. I want to do it for my sponsors, I want to do it for the fans, and I want to do it for my family. This family's down for one. And there's a problem. We've got something spewing out of the back of that machine. And what is it? Look up close. Looks like hydraulic fluid or something coming out, and I think that's it for Curtis Stone and Line X obsession. But the crowd, they appreciated him coming out. He's coming out, and look at they're starting to applaud. He comes out, Curtis Stone looks at, says, what's wrong? Uh-oh. And the crowd loves it for coming out here and putting on a show. Curtis Stone and Linex Obsession. All right, let's take a look again at Curtis Stone and that forward-only Linex Obsession truck. Slow motion look. He's getting some pretty good air. He's got to be thinking about where he lands because he can't back up. He can't back it around. Goes over the van in the center. And there comes the smoke coming out of there, and it looks like possibly hydraulic fluid or something. Tough break for Curtis. He put on a tremendous show. Close up with our camera, you can see the smoke spewing out of that Linex Obsession truck. He gets out, waves to the crowd, says, "Thank you, ladies and gentlemen." And the crowd responds. They love him. Here in Fresno, California, round 6 of Monsters of Destruction Freestyle competition. Curtis Stone, look at the crowd. They love him. They appreciate him coming out there and putting on a show even though he was so terribly limited. We'll be back with more exciting action from Summit Arena, the Freestyle competition. Don't touch that remote. So this is our final event and the final competitor, Schaefer. And he's putting on a show. Look at this guy getting strong. Oh, my goodness. He slams down the ground. The front wheels slam into that mud. That was a tough, and the machine kept running. It keeps going. 90 seconds. Paul Schaefer, the Monster Patrol. Now, we had several vehicles out of the competition. Number 29, Kevin Harvick, the steering problem. Monster Moon, mechanical problems. Dragon Slayer won Chicago and then suffered an oil leak in the engine. He's out. And a problem with the Spider-Man. He's out with a broken engine, apparently, or broken suspension. I'm not sure what. But here's the final look at Schaefer spin around, and the crowd responds. 2,000 horsepower, spin around 5 tons, goes back around, slams down. The crowd responding. This is a long wheelbase truck, one of 2. This is the Kid Rock machine, both owned by Paul Schaefer. And Schaefer's putting on an incredible show. He wants to win this. He hasn't won anything else tonight. He wants to win this one from Fresno, California. He is the only truck with the flashing lights on top of the cab. He says he likes that. He's waving to the crowd. Look at this. He wants the response from the crowd. Paul Schaefer and the Monster Patrol, the Universal Studios sponsored machine. Comes around, goes around the cars as he wraps up his 90-second presentation. I think he just might win this one. Look at him get some air. Slow motion. Now watch the landing. Gets a little sideways and still manages to save it. Up in the air at the second time. Now watch him come down. Slams down on the rear wheels and then bounces in the air. I've not seen that before. That did indeed jar him badly. Another look at that incredible air shot, slamming down the rear wheels. Now watch the front wheels come down, and the suspension takes an unbelievable beating. The other driver's standing and watching him. Their mouths are open. They can't believe what he's doing. And Monster Patrol, Paul Schaefer takes the accolades of the crowd and wins the freestyle event here in Fresno. We go next to Phoenix, Arizona for rounds 7 and 8. Monsters of Destruction. I'm Larry Huffman for Milestone Motorsports. Thanks